Righto, welcome to Funchal, Madeira. We're going to be doing an RNAV approach to runway 05, the standard one. The wind is favourable, 040 degrees to 8 knots, so it's a headwind, but we're expecting some katabatic wind effects from the mountains to the left of the runway, which is the whole point of Madeira, really. I'll turn off this window now, so there we are. We're flying with EasyJet Europe, call sign Alpine, on VATSIM. Nobody's online though, so doesn't not like that makes much of a difference. We've got the ECNOT 1 Papa arrive, and we've basically just deleted most of the waypoints, so we've got a nice direct to the initial approach fix here. So I'm going to set the local QNH, which is 1022. Our speed restriction at MA522 is 160 knots, so I'm basically just doing a 3-degree glide path straight down to 2,000 feet. It might well be a completely continuous descent, which would be very nice. But in the meantime, trying to basically just bring the speed down as we go. We've already engaged our approach mode, so we're flying our slat 1 speed. Let's put in the first layer of flaps now. So there we go, that brings us down to about 180 knots. And you can hear the engines winding down now. Chart-wise, there is a chart. We're not following the charted procedure though, just the last part here, and that basically means, let me just quickly pop it up, chart Fox, LPMA. So at 522 we're at 2,000 feet, and then we start a 3-degree glide path. Let me just see if I can put that chart up. This one here, right, there we go. So you can see we're basically coming in directly to MA522, 2,000 feet, 160 knots, and then start a 3-degree glide path descent down onto the runway. And if we mess it up, we take off again, fly to this one, 552, and do another arc, and then come to the holding out here. And then probably do a straight in approach. So let me get rid of the chart now. The minimum is, for a category C aircraft, which we are, we're going to assume we have maximum accuracy, is 520 feet above sea level. And the runway elevation is 146 feet. So let's close that window down. Grand. So now we've got flaps 2, bringing the speed down to 160. I'm actually going to set a manual speed of 160 now, with flaps free. You see that causes a slight pitch down in the nose, obviously as we put more things out. It's going to be a very chilled out approach, I'll say. Except when it comes to the actual landing part, that bit's always a bit more spicy. Spicy and dicey. Okay, we give the speed back to the aircraft now. We're looking at a VAP of 138. I think the divert was a little bit far away, so we've got quite a lot of fuel on board for the landing. So actually we're coming in at quite a high speed approach with 138 knots on final compared to the usual 129 or so. But that's fine, we can deal with that, no problem. Right, we've got 4.3 miles to go, we've got 800 feet to descend. That is perfectly doable. We're already at a pretty good configuration speed for the approach. Auto brake is set to low. Speed brake is armed, and everything else looks good.
2,500.
Passengers to come and sit down. Call the captain in. Here's our 2,000 feet. We're going to level off for about 2 miles, and then 3-degree glide path again. Or can I already see the runway? I can't already see the runway, so we're not going to do quite that. There's the runway. So we don't want to do a direct approach because that's going to be too much to the left. So we're going to follow the arc. I'm going to let the autopilot do the first kind of bit. Let's get fully configured. 5 miles to go, so gears coming down. But S522, put in 3 degrees. A little bit to the left, and now we're going to follow this arc here that's been mapped out. So first to the left and then around to the right. I wonder if I can put the high load version of the mod on. Okay, there we go, we're on the arc now, and everything is looking fantastic. There's one red. Madeira traffic, Alpine, what's that called sign? Something Lima, short final runway 05.
1000.
There's our 2 reds, so just reducing down to 700 or 800 feet per minute now. That is a good descent rate. Hugging the coastline now, there's the runway in sight. I'm just going to try and keep left as much as possible so that the short final segment is relatively long. Not just flying visually, you can see now there's a bit of turbulence coming onto the aircraft. There you can see some shaking there. But all in all, not too bad. Now I'm going to turn final. I'm pointing at the blocks there, the aiming point. We're going to use the standard nice arrival technique. Go turn final now.
500. Minimum.
Continue.
$400. 300. 200, 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Touchdown. Now that last second is always a bit interesting at Madeira when you just come in over the thing and suddenly you get the ground effect. It's a very strange effect on the aircraft. Simultaneously pulls it up and down. It's very confusing and I don't know exactly how to cope with it, but there we go. We're making our exit right now, so no need to backtrack. Let's bring in the gear. Look at that bumpy runway. Oh, yep, the bumpy is hell taxiway too. If there's a mod that cleans that all up. Here we go, welcome to Madeira, home of the lovely bit of wind shear on shore final. There we go, let's check out the landing rate, because that's always important. 82 feet per minute, lovely. Absolutely lovely. That was a nice smooth landing. The wind was 9 knots and the landing speed was 122 knots. Yeah, you saw the bit of crazy kind of buffeting on short final right over the runway. Just as you come in over that sort of bit, let me go and find it. This bit here, basically. So you're coming in, and then here you've got some ground effect, and all of a sudden it disappears here, and then comes back massively, and then you get like a kind of buffet onto the final. But overall, very nice. Very nice indeed. This is the cool part that they built to keep the airport working. Also, the scenery does need a bit of an overhaul. It doesn't look so pretty, but it's functional. That's the main thing. Very short. Now, what's this building? That's very tall. It's a tall, weird warehouse. This looks good though. Lots of tunnels, lots of roads. Is that a random river? Random river, and Microsoft puts an entire reflection sheet over the whole thing. It's only a tiny, tiny, tiny river, but the entire thing must reflect. There we go. Right, let's finish that up.